Hello everyone. As some of you may remember, I am the one that a few months ago delivered a horrible speech about the Winter Olympic Games and about ice skating mainly. Well, last week I watched the film Me, Tonya. I don't know if you have watched it, but it is about an American skater who had a rather difficult life. In spite of being the first woman who was able to carry out a triple axel. But then I thought, let's change and not talk about skating again. I will leave that for a different day, I promise. To be honest, I do love skating, but that has never been my sport. My sport was always rhythmic gymnastics, and I am absolutely in love with that discipline. And that is what I have been a gymnast for around 15 years. But again, you don't really want to listen to me talking about how good or bad I was at gymnastics. That's not really that interesting. So, this is the reason why it came to my mind the most amazing gymnast that has ever lived. Or at least I would say so until Simone Biles arrived in our lives. I'm saying this, but I will also say that would only be applied to artistic gymnastics because there are many other gymnasts in rhythmic, my discipline, that from my point of view, they are way beyond that. But let's go back. So let's recap and I will tell you. Artistic gymnast and a legend. You already know who I am talking about, right? Exactly, that is Nadia Comaneci. I can't just describe her or just tell you one sentence about her because I'm afraid I will have to tell you her whole story. Nadia was born in Romania in 1961. She lived in honesty with her parents or her brother, just like any other Romanian family. Her mom, Stefania, said that her daughter was a very difficult child because she was too full of energy. And that's why she decided to sign her up in gymnastics. She probably never realized how the impact would be for her daughter's life. At 6 years old, Nadia was playing with her friend, just turning cartwheels in the school playground, like any other girl. In this very moment, she was spotted by Bela Karoly, the renowned Romanian gymnastics coach. Bela, even if you get confused, he was a man, and then he was also working with his wife Martha. Well, he and his wife, as I said, they were looking for young potentials who could be trained to eventually compete in events all around the world. So Bela Karoly certainly saw something special in Nadia, and he offered himself to train her. By the time Nadia was 7, she was already training 2 or 3 hours a day. She was only 7. You can imagine what that is for a 7-year-old. But still, nothing was more important for Nadia than gymnastics. For her, the life she was living was just fantastic. In her first national competition, she was still 7, bear in mind, she didn't do very well as we could have thought. She finished in 13th place, but this never disappointed her, nothing further from the truth. It only motivated her even more. She trained harder and harder, which led her to the first place the following year. Only in 1 year she would have 12 places. So she kept working very, very hard. By the time she turned 12, Nadia was living in a state-run gymnastics school, and she was training with Karoly 6 days a week, 8 hours per day. Mind you, she was 12. Being all successful and winning medals all over the world, that's what she was doing. And like this, she got to Montreal Olympic Games in 1976. By this time, Nadia was 15. Here, in that very moment, on the 18th of July, 1976, it happened. It happened what we know and we think is the best thing has ever happened in the world of gymnastics. There was the perfect 10. Nadia performed an absolutely flawless routine on the uneven bars. The board actually showed 1.00 because no one had ever got a 10 before, so the board wasn't even ready for that. It wasn't just prepared. Everyone was a little bit confused for a few seconds, like, how is it possible that she gets a 1 with that exercise, with that routine? But then everyone realized that it wasn't meant to be a 1, it was indeed a 10. She was given that perfect 10. To be fair, it was very well earned. It was a 10 that she really deserved, fair and square. Everything was going very well, but as you know, these things usually never last for long. Nadia came back to Romania, and it was then that her parents decided to split up, which really affected the gymnast. And if this wasn't enough for her, she was sent to Bucharest. Remember, she was training in Honesty, but now she was sent to Bucharest to train with another coach, not with Bela Karoly anymore, for unknown reasons. We don't really know why that happened. She had been with him since she was 6, so this was really heartbreaking for Nadia. She was so unhappy because of the things that had happened, the events in her life, that she even tried to kill herself by drinking bleach. When only a few months before, she was just probably the happiest kid in the world. She also had a tough time, given that she was growing up, something that every child does. She grew exactly 17 centimeters and gained around 9 kilos. And that is what happens between the ages of 14 and 18, maybe 19. But you're not allowed to suffer that. That's not allowed to happen when you are a gymnast. Everyone knew that she needed her coach back, so Nadia could still be the perfect 10. So the sports committee decided to let Karoly coach her again. Like this, we're back in the Olympics, this time 1980, in Moscow. Remember, 1980 is still Soviet Union. Well, it was Soviet Union back then. However, it didn't go as we could have expected. She didn't get a gold medal on being on floor, and that was already a disaster. Plus, she tied with a Soviet gymnast. Coincidence? We will never know. She also won 2 silvers, so you can imagine it wasn't gold, it wasn't good enough. There was also controversy everywhere. Karoly wasn't very happy with the scores her gymnast had received, so he protested. But it went too far, because he said all over the place that it was absolutely unfair. These protests were captured on the television, and it caused him to fall out of favour with the members of the Romanian government. They felt that Karoly had humiliated them. Life became very difficult for Karoly from that point forward. Despite this, Nadia was still the perfect 10. She was the only one that had ever achieved that. So, the Romanian government quickly realized that Nadia Comaneci could be more than that. She could actually make money for the government. So, they hosted the Nadia Tour in 1981, which took place over 11 cities in America. The government received around $250,000, whereas Nadia only earned $1,000 from traveling all around America, showing her magnificent skills. As you know, the relationship between Karoly and the Romanian government wasn't good, and it was getting even worse. This is why, on the last day of the tour, Karoly, his wife, and the Romanian team choreographer defected. They sought political asylum in the US. Nadia was completely gutted when she found out. As you can imagine, it was the second time that she was kept apart from her beloved coach. So, the Romanian government became worried that Nadia would follow her coach's steps and defect to the US. She was seen as a very valuable communist model in sport. Remember, she was from Romania, so Nadia was banned from traveling to any Western country. She was kept out of sight of the press. She had her mail read, her phones tapped by the Romanian government, and she was constantly watched wherever she would go. Nadia was absolutely trapped in her home country, no way out for her. In 1987, Nadia met Constantin Panait, who had already escaped Romania a few years ago. He told her that he would help her to escape as well if she wanted. Nadia didn't really know Panait, but he was offering an escape, and that's what she needed at that very moment. So this was a potentially once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to leave Romania for good. She wanted to start a new life in the United States, so off she went, because that's what she thought it would happen. You'll find out whatever happened. On the night of the 27th November 1989, Nadia defected along other 5 Romanians. They made an almost deadly walk in the ice-cold conditions and the most horrible weather you can imagine. Remember, November, Romania, so really cold. So, she went to the Hungarian border, and here it is said that she was stopped by one of the police officers that was there. But apparently he took pity on her because she really deserved a better life, so he just let her pass. That has been said. She has never said yes or no, so we can imagine that it actually happened. We don't know anything about the officer now, so I can't tell you for sure. Well, they continued on to the Austrian border, and the Panait met them there. And he had a flight to New York City that was hired by the US Embassy. So she went to the US as it was her dream now. But again, life in the US didn't go as expected, because Panait was fully controlling Nadia. He didn't let anyone contact her, and he even kept her hostage for some time. Nadia didn't have a clue that this was going to happen, so she didn't really do anything. She didn't talk to anyone, so that was her life for a couple of years. Suddenly, one good day, she ran into her old friend Alexandru Stefu and explained that things weren't quite as she thought they would be. He decided to intervene, organizing a meeting where she admitted that Panait was actually mistreating her. Next day, Constantin Panait fled the country with $150,000 that came from Nadia's cash, and he also took her car. He stole everything from her, but she didn't really mind, because after so many years, she was finally free. After this, Nadia encountered the gymnast. He was from the US as well, the American gymnast, Bot Connor. And they opened up a gymnastics school. And, well, you've already had enough, so cut long story short, they fell in love, they got married in Romania in 1996, and nowadays, they keep running this school. Even more, they have a son together, and apparently they are happily married. So, as you can see, gymnastics probably made her suffer than it made her enjoy. But she finally made it, and she has the life she deserves. Besides, she will always be the only gymnast who achieved a perfect 10, and no one else can say that. Thank you. Very sassy.